Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. In this video, we will be discussing the lessons learned from chapter number 6 of the Quran, also known as Surrah Al Annam. This chapter contains many important teachings that we can apply to our daily lives as Muslims. So let's dive in. Lesson number 1, Tawheed. The first lesson we can learn from Surah Al Annam is the importance of Tawheed, or the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In verse number 102, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "That is Allah, your Lord. There is no deity except Him, the creator of all things. So worship Him, and He is the disposer of all things." This verse reminds us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one and only God, and we should worship Him alone. We should have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trust in His plans for us. Lesson number 2, Prophethood. The second lesson we can learn from Surah Al Annam is the importance of prophethood. In verse number 1 to 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "And when a sign comes to them, they say, 'Never will we believe until we are given like that which was given to the messengers of Allah.' Allah knows best where to place His message." This verse reminds us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent messengers to guide us throughout history, and we should follow their teachings. We should strive to learn from the examples of the prophets and apply their teachings to our daily lives. Lesson number 3, accountability. The third lesson we can learn from Surah Al Annam is the importance of accountability. "And every soul earns not blame except against itself, and no bearer of burdens will bear the burden of another. Then to your Lord is your return, and He will inform you concerning that over which you used to differ." This verse reminds us that we will be held accountable for our actions on the day of judgment. We should strive to do good deeds and avoid sins, and seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our mistakes. Lesson number 4, patience and perseverance. The fourth lesson we can learn from Surah Al Annam is the importance of patience and perseverance. In verse number 135, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "My Lord has guided me to a straight path, a correct religion, the way of Ibrahim, inclining toward truth. And he was not among those who associated others with Allah." This verse reminds us that we should be patient and steadfast in our faith and follow the example of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was a true believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should strive to stay on the straight path and avoid associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lesson number 5, justice and fairness. The fifth lesson we can learn from Surah Al Annam is the importance of justice and fairness. In verse number 152, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "And do not approach the orphan's property except in a way that is best until he reaches maturity, and fulfill every commitment. Indeed, the commitment is ever that about which one will be questioned." This verse reminds us that we should be just and fair in our dealings with others, especially those who are vulnerable like orphans. We should fulfill our commitments and be accountable for our actions. In conclusion, Surah Al Annam contains many valuable lessons that we can apply to our daily lives as Muslims. We should have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow the teachings of the prophets. Be accountable for our actions, be patient and steadfast in our faith, and be just and fair in our dealings with others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on the straight path and help us to embody these teachings in our lives. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching, and until next time, Assalamu alaikum.